got a complete brake system for Flossy. So, got this main kit from Summit. It is Omix-ada brand. And let's just start here. Got 4 brake drums. Nice, brand new. Got shoes. All 4 wheels. Got a Jedi master cylinder. 4 wheel cylinders. The front ones are the straight inlet to use with S-lines. I'll get to those once I start installing this. They're not the later style that's just rubber, which is correct for my 56. Got shoe hardware, retainers and springs, all that good stuff for all 4 wheels. Got 6 hose retainers, lower springs, upper springs. Got a front and rear hose to go from the frame to the axle, and then the hoses for on the steering knuckles. Then got 25 feet, this is separate from the kit, 25 feet of 3/16 brake line. This is easy flex, so don't need any special bending tools or straighteners. I can just bend it by hand. And then got some fittings for the line. So, first battle plan, gotta get the Jeep jacked up and tear out what old brake stuff I have left, get those torn off, and then I'm going to clean up the backing plates, then start putting the new stuff on. Let's get rolling. Well, the brake project got a little delayed because they actually sent me the wrong shoes. They were actually correct for a flat fender, which this is not a flat fender. So, called Summit, and Omix was going to be back ordered for like another month. These were in stock, Ray Besto's brand, and these are actually correct for a CJ5. So, I can get back to getting brakes done, and you get those installed now. So both the rears are completely disassembled and cleaned, ready to be assembled. And a tip, always leave at least one put together originally, so that in case you forget how something goes, you can just look at it for reference. So both the front ones I haven't touched yet. They're still completely assembled. But I have some pictures, so I should be able to get these put together good. So first step, need to make sure these brake adjusting eccentrics are turned in all the way in. You just do like that. I'll get into how those work later when we actually adjust these brakes. And now, going to put in the wheel cylinder. So, going to put some never sees along there just a little bit on the surface that will contact the backing plate. That's going to fall out, but take the bolts, put some never sees on them. Okay, need to get the shoes and just set them in temporarily, and then see wherever they're going to rub against the backing plate, just spread some Never Sees on it. Now it's time to put on the shoes. Now these particular brand, all the shoes, the lining, which is that part, is equal on all of them. Some of them have, like the ones that were on this before, the lining is shorter on some of them. So if you have that brand, the longer style would go towards the front, but these are equal, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to start by taking this pin, run it through the hole in the backing plate, then slide the shoe on. This tab goes into the wheel cylinder, and then there's a hole on it that that pin will go through. Right, like that. And we put this little retainer thing on. Spring. Now this part is kind of tricky because the spring will have to compress quite a bit, but you can see that has that notch, and the pin has those teeth. So those teeth have to go into the notch and then turn, and that'll lock it in. So sometimes with these brand new tight springs, it can be kind of tricky to line it up, but it's all doable. Following the same procedure on the other side. And also, I didn't point out on the other side, there's on the bottom of the backing plate, there's a tab that the shoe rests against to hold it that way. So just make sure you get it lined up behind that. Now it's time to put in the return springs. I'm going to start out with the upper one. Slide in here. There's a hole on the shoe that it hooks into. And then I'm going to grab onto it with some needle nose vice grips. And just really tight. Might get impaled with it. And this has to fall over. I got a clamp here holding the shoes in, so I don't have as much distance to stretch the spring. Now if I could just get that snap in there. There we go. Yes! Alright, upper return spring is in. Now we gotta go to the bottom. It's gonna be a little bit tricky. I hope you guys can see that okay. And here is the lower return spring. Then there's this tab I was talking about earlier. On the backing plate, the spring goes behind that. Hook it onto one side. Alright, release the clamp. Look at that. Now that is technically, those shoes are completely in. You can see how that brake eccentric is now tight against that. Now, I'm going to put the drum on next, but before we get to that, that eccentric comes through the backing plate and has a nut there that you can get onto it with a wrench or ratchet and then turn it, and that kind of cam lobe, whatever there, is off center. So right there is all the way back. Then as you turn it, it'll move that being off center, move it out, and push the shoes out. That's how you can get adjustments to make them tighter after they wear a little bit. Alright, then put some Never Sees on here. Because the last thing you want is that drum to rust and get stuck on there. That always makes for a bad day when you try to pull it off. Okay, now brand new drum is going on there. Now it has these screws that go into that hole. There's 3 of them to hold the drum on there, so whenever you take the wheel off, the drum doesn't immediately fall off also. So there is only one way that this will fit on, and if you get lucky, nope, I didn't get lucky. So now I gotta sit here and turn around to find where it lines up. There we go. Grab these screws, some Never Sees on them. All 4 wheels have shoes, wheel cylinders, springs, drums, whole 9 yards, all 4 corners. So that is done. Now the next step, I need to do plumb lines and put in the new master cylinder. So I'm going to start out with the master cylinder because all the lines run off of it. And there we go. So that's going to go onto the frame. I have this here I reused from the old one. Got the Y to go to one line to the front, one line to the back, and then that's the brake light switch. This is your brake light switch. So it's kind of hard to see in camera, but there's actually a thing inside there that when the pressure of the fluid goes in, it pushes that in and should connect and allow electricity to flow from here to turn on your brake lights. So an easy way to test that, get a voltmeter, put on continuity. I'm going to clamp one test lead onto one side, clamp this one on here. I'm just doing clamping them so it's easier, less things to hold. And then take a rod, put in here, and it should beep. So that is functioning properly. I can reuse that. So for the alternator, it goes right up here. There's 2 holes on the frame rail, and then this bracket goes on the outside of it. But first, gotta run this rod is connected to the pedal. It's gotta go in the back of the master cylinder like so. Alright, so these bolts were pretty hard to get lined up right, but I did get them gone, so now I just got to tighten them up. Okay, master cylinder's in, so now I'm going to prep brake line. I'm doing this up here because it's easier than doing this underneath the Jeep. So first off, I need to put a flare on this, but before you do that, always make sure you put your fitting on first and that it's going the right direction. Do that before you put the flare. Save you a lot of time. Then just use a basic single flare. And rear lines are done. Put a little eyelet there. Probably add another one on this side. Run through the bolt for the diff cover to hold it in place. I'll probably add some more along the frame to hold that also. But it's looking really good. I also put a hose clamp here to hold it in place because there's no hole in the axle case to use a bolt running through to hold that junction block. Normally there's a threaded hole that you could run a bolt through. From the factory it had this clip. I only have one. It's going to be on the front, so for the back I just used a hose clamp. Worked just fine. Alright, I'm going to attempt to remake this S-line. This is the original. See that flare busted off on that side. It goes, the hard line comes in across the axle into the rubber hose, which accounts being able to move and flex with the steering. The rubber hose will mount right into that bracket there. Then the S-line goes like that, connects the hose to the wheel cylinder. Alright, here's that S-line going in. Might still need to bend a little bit once I actually get it in here all the way. Front brake lines are installed. The S lines actually turned out pretty good. Now, every single line is completely done. So, we can start filling it with fluid. Okay, so pumping the brake, and so far, first leak is coming out of the inside of this drum, so it must be wheel cylinder. So we're just pulling the drum off here. See if we can figure out what it is. So, we're trying to fix, because right here was squirting some fluid. Now I look over there. Really? That fit in the squirting fluid. What's that? What in the world? We got Lake Ontario here. Good grief. Alright, here's that leaky wheel cylinder. Pulled it all apart. And this is the main seal that seals all the fluid inside. So, thinking it was probably just in there crooked. So I'm going to put it back in, make sure it's straight, and reassemble this. One leak was these two fittings here on this junction block on the rear axle. They were both leaking, so I pulled that apart, cut off those flares, and then put new flares on them. So I'm thinking the flares I had on it, I didn't get a good enough flare on it, so it didn't seal right. Redid them and put better ones on it, so now it should seal. I think the line should hold fluid now. Got that other corner put all back together. Now it's time to bleed the lines. So you can have your trusty assistant sit in the driver's seat and pump the brake pedal a couple times, then hold the pressure. And then he makes noise while I'm trying to talk to people on the World Wide Web. Pump the brake pedal a few times, and then hold pressure on it, and then just crack that bleeder open a little bit, and let some air and then fluid come out, close it, pump the pedal again, and keep doing that about like 5 or 10 times, whatever. Then go to the next wheel, and just keep doing that, starting at the wheel farthest away from the master cylinder, and moving closer. You sound like you're falling through the floor. Are you?
It's getting softer.
Oh boy. Alright. I got a tire in my back there. Alright, pumperoo.
I pumped it 3 times, there's still no pressure on it.
There might not be pressure until we get the air out. Pump and then hold it, and let me just bleed it once to see what happens.
It's all the way down to the floor.
Okay. Is it holding?
Holding.
Are you holding pressure on it?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Pump it again. Holding.
Yeah, I'm holding it to the floor.
Okay. Alright, again. Alright, for you people on YouTube, this wheel I think is good enough for now. Pretty much just follow the same procedure for the other ones, and after we get those done, we'll check back and just make sure this one's still good. Brakes are all done. Each one is bled. Got wheels put back on it, and basically, that's it. Been driving it around quite a bit now with the new brakes. Actually, if y'all watched my videos at Bantam, I had brakes there. Or else if not, I probably would have killed someone. But, yeah, they're just working good. I mean, God. Pedal goes down a little bit and then stops with pressure, and it stops really good, works good, no leaks. I did go and after I bled them, drove it around and did some good hard stops on it, then jacked it up and readjusted them just to get everything seated good. But I'd say they work good. So yeah, that's how to put brakes on your Willys CJ5 and M38A1 and CJ6, all the same process. So thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.